Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mark Loeffler Experience. We've got a great show here for you today. We're going to talk about the 4 books that have influenced my life the most, and 4 books that I think everybody should read. Bar none, you should read these books. Everyone, if you like these videos, please subscribe. We're at about 975 subscribers as of as we're doing this this morning. And we're so close to hitting that 1,000. If you know somebody that might like the videos, please share it with them. Share it on your social media. Do appreciate it. And for that YouTube algorithm, smash the like button. Comment down below if you've read the books. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you have any other books that you think I should read, I would love any suggestions down there as well. Maybe I've read them. Maybe they're just not in my top 4. All right. Now, I know we got a couple comments when we did the top 10 Canadian cities about what about these cities. I mean, just because I mentioned these 4 books, it doesn't mean that there aren't other great books out there, right? We get that. So just because I mentioned these 4 books, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't read any other books. Okay, I'm just going to tell you that these are the 4 most influential books that have impacted my life. And we can go to the number 1. Probably influential book that's changed my life is good old Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read this when I was in my early 20s, and I had always had the idea that I was in the sales or entrepreneurial or real estate, that type of thing. This really gave form to what that might look like as I moved down the road, and it gave me some form to, that obviously I'm not the only one out there that thinks like this, and that, there are ways to do this, right? You tell us about income and expenses, liabilities. That's the first time I heard that a house is, your house is a liability, which makes sense. It doesn't earn you money, right? So, it talks about what an asset is. An asset is something that earns you money that you can either do different things. So now when I look at things, when I buy a car, like you can see in the video I made, I'm buying that because the assets I own are paying for that doodad. If you know Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and if you've ever played the game CASHFLOW 101, right? So, it's basic financial literacy. So this also got me started down the rabbit hole of going to find other people like-minded with that, and, playing CASHFLOW 101 with friends and family, and going out and finding cash flow clubs out there, and basically starting to hang out with like-minded people and learning what they were doing. So a lot of them were living this rich dad lifestyle, and I could learn from them being in my early 20s. And obviously I bought a couple of rental properties at that time, and really at some point figured out that I didn't need to be working full time at a corporate job. And kind of been working for myself for the most better part of the last 17 or so years. But yeah, this all started from this book, right? But it also talks about simple things like you don't need to get an MBA. You can always hire an MBA, right? You can hire smart people to work for you, and that's what the rich do, right? The rich hire smart people. Choose friends carefully, the power of association, right? So once I read this book, I went and I hung out with people who were a little bit more like-minded in this, right? Master a formula and then learn a new one. The power of learning quickly. So one of the formulas I've learned is how to buy rental properties and renovate them and to refinance them to generate income. Another one I've learned is obviously how to invest in the stock market, right? And different things. Yeah, there's so many ways to make money out there. Private lending, if you're in the States, tax liens and stuff like that. there's so much to do. Oh, and this is a good one. Obviously, pay yourself first. The power of self-discipline. Pay your brokers well. So if you guys are out there and you're working with people, a real estate broker or a stockbroker, and these people are making you a ton of money, give them a little extra. Don't always be so cheap with them. Use assets to buy luxuries, the power of focus. Yeah. Teach and you shall receive the power of giving, right? I mean, I've always said this, is that if you want to learn something really well, you teach it. Anyway, so that's my number 1 book. And now we have number 2. Actually, to be honest with you, these are in no particular order. I mean, maybe this is just the order that I've read them. Not even. But these are just 4 influential books in my life. The 4-Hour Workweek. Obviously, Tim Ferriss. And this was basically doing more with less time. How to leverage it and how to use leverage from different areas to be able to grow your business, grow your life, so that you have the freedom to do whatever you want when you want it. Obviously he talks about, like, he had a vitamin company. He took that vitamin company and basically took it offshore, and went from earning $40,000 per year to making, in 80 hours a week, to making $40,000 per week in 4 hours a week by outsourcing that offshore. Don't get me wrong. This is not about outsourcing or doing whatever. This is more about eliminating a lot of the tasks that you don't need to be doing, and not even that. I wouldn't say eliminating. It's figuring out your dollar per cost, your dollar per hour, what you earn, and then figuring out what those would cost you to pay somebody else to do. And if it is less, and that person can do that job 80% as well as you or better, then that was something that I learned from this book, and that's what I would give. You give it away. It's just given away, and you don't think about it. So if somebody can do that job 80% as well as you, and they can do it for less per hour. So if my per hour thing is, let's just call it $250, then if I'm doing a $25 an hour job, I'm costing myself money, right? So if I'm doing a $25 an hour job, I'm costing myself money. And this is, the premise really of the book is, how do we eliminate doing those either the minimum wage jobs that are in our business to give us back the freedom, so we can go out and we can grow the business, or we can live the life that we want to live by either traveling or spending the time with family, golfing, whatever, exercising, whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is that you tell yourself you can't do now because we don't have time because you're working in the business. It also gives you time to work on the business, which again grows your hourly revenue. All right, so that's the 4-hour work week. And now we got Mr. David Goggins. All right, so Cant Hurt Me. Now, this for me was just a tale of what you can put yourself through and come back from. I mean, dude ran on broken legs. He ran a 100-mile race with like Ritz crackers and Mioplex. It's the power of the human mind. So the human mind tells us we want to protect ourselves. All the time it tells us we want to protect ourselves. So it will tell our body that we want to shut down before we hurt ourselves. I'll give you a for instance of this. All the time when I'm out for a run, or I did a 100-kilometer run on the weekend, and all the time I'm sitting here, David Goggins is in my head saying, when you think you're done, you're only 40%. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I think I'm done. And then it's like, oh, David Goggins, 40%. And the stuff he went through and stuff he did, and shared in the book, I mean, obviously it's unbelievable, and it's just amazing, and it's just shows if you have a strong mind, you can do whatever you want, whether that's in business, in athletics, but in life, in fitness, you can do whatever you want. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that you're going to become, because you think you can, you know, Usain Bolt. Obviously there's some genetics involved there, yet, you know, David Goggins is built very much like, well, I mean, he's a big man, and yet he does ultra races, which are typically the ultra running races, which are typically the avenue of string bean type guys who are very wiry and not at all built like David Goggins. Not like guys built like me doing 100 kilometers. You know, it's typically I'm not made for that. Yet at the end of the day, it's how strong is your mind, can you make that happen? And this is what, I mean, Goggins was. So if you've not read it, or if you've not listened to it on audiobook, I definitely recommend it. I still listen to it probably twice a year on audiobook. By bar none, the most inspirational book I've listened to in the last 2 years, and he doesn't want you to be inspired by it. Like, he doesn't want that. I thought what his goal was. He just wants you to be able to take that next step further in your mind, right? Is to be able to say, okay, am I done, or am I truly only at 40%? Next one, we're going to come back to my crazy uncle Robert again. Cash flow quadrant. And so if you know the cash flow quadrant, and maybe this is something I can do in a further video, but it's you know, it starts off with the employee, then the self-employed, a business owner, and then an investor. And basically, you know, an employee works for somebody for money, right? A self-employed works for themselves, but obviously they still have to go to work and do the work to get paid. Where a business owner has other people working for them, so they get paid. And then an investor goes out and invests the money, and the money works for them. And obviously, when you invest it in businesses and that, you're investing in those business owners to go run that business. So so cash flow quadrant, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cant Hurt Me, and Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Workweek. These are the 4 books that I would say over the last 20 years have made the biggest impact on my life. If you've not read any of them, read all of them. If you've read some but not others, definitely go out and get them. Yeah, guys, gals, whatever. If you read them and you like them, let me down below. If you didn't like them, let me know. If you have another book that I should be reading, I'd love to hear from you. Comment down below. We'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.